Because then he said, "Are you at ZZ's?" Yeah. And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Not for long." Ha 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 ha. And then didn't reply to me for like 2 hours.
Mate, that's exactly how I pictured JB, you know.
I'd told him like what time I finished, and I was like, I got to the end, I was like, "Is he gonna be here?" And then he just calls me out of nowhere, and he's like, "Oh, I'm in the BMW at the back. I look like I sell heroin." And I was like.
Right then, team, welcome back. Welcome back to the Scratch Record podcast. We are joined today by somebody who has an unbelievable social media presence. It's someone who is the biggest following that we've had on the show before. They're part of the collective TGF, as well as rolling their way into the indie music scene, alternative scene, with their most recent singles, Boys Can Wear Pink and Fuck Me Up Kinda Love. I have to thank him on a personal level for showing me Girlfriends, the band, on his TikTok. I hadn't
So good.
I hadn't come across them yet, but I have to thank you for putting me on them because they're fucking mental. Today we have Lou. Welcome to the show. How are you, mate?
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, them intros are gassing people up, aren't they? It's sick.
How have you been getting on, mate? All right.
I've been all right, yeah. I did mention previously before we started recording, but lockdown's only just started to affect me. I think, especially music directionally, I've recently changed like a little bit of a different style, and as I just started getting into it, it sort of just kept going into lockdown and stuff. So I haven't even been able to like properly make this kind of music how I want to yet. And I think that's bugging me the most at the moment. Like I just want to be able to just go to a friend's house. You know what I mean?
Isn't it, mate? That's it. It becomes the little things, doesn't it? Like I was thinking about this the other day. Like I've been like wanting to get back to gigs, back to football games, back to all this shit. But I'm like, actually now, like I would take being able to like go to Els and just record a podcast in person and just chill and have a beer with one person. Like it's got that point in it where it's like
it does just make you appreciate like the things that like you would never even like. There is a sunny side to all in there, because like when we go back to like being able to just like your friend can get in your car and you're not worried about being pulled over, like because you want to go to like the woods for a walk.
Literally, man.
For sure. Right. Well, I feel like we've got loads to get through and we could talk about loads forever. So I think the way to do it is go a bit chronologically, take you back to the very beginning of everything.
Right to the start.
Right to the start. Childhood, right? We're gonna do like almost like a fucking. I feel like
an autobiography.
Let's get back. Not quite.
Just Louis' head bouncing along the line. I'm gonna see the edit now.
Back to early days. Childhood. What were you like as a child, Lou? I'm interested.
It's really bizarre to be honest, because when I was a kid, I was just super shy. Like I was like so reserved and shy, and like. I even when I was really, really young, I would never want to leave my mom's side. Like I'd follow her around the house. Like I think I was just such a scared child. I was not confident whatsoever. I got on all right. I wouldn't say I was like socially awkward at all, but I just like was such a shy person. And I think I was always just like I always tried so hard to fit in that it became like tiring. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then one day just something happened. I think I was about 12, 13, and then like I applied for like a musical at school. As you call it, audition to like be in a musical at school.
Yeah.
And from there it just spiraled, and I went like from in the space of a year from like being this shy little kid that like has to like follow his mom around when she does the washing to like being on a stage, like so.
That's
it's a bit mad, really, but I was just normal childhood, really. Like grew up like weren't poor, weren't rich, sort of got by, like like I'm from a place called Telford. It's like quite a little place. There's not much to do. No, there's a lot of where I live. There's a lot of, I don't want to badmouth it because I do quite enjoy it, but like there's a lot of like rough side to it.
Yeah.
And I never got involved with that, but I saw so many people that I grew up with just slip into like drugs and this and this and this, and so I was I'm gonna say like mildly lucky, or maybe just a bit switched on and like never got caught up in that. Which is sick. But my childhood was pretty boring, really. I played in trees and you know.
The usual shit.
I'll tell you what, that sounds it sounds very, I can relate to that for sure. Like just that being in an area that's like nice enough, you're in a nice enough family, like not rich, not poor, just kind of getting by. And the area that you come from is kind of full of vices. It's full of things that you could just fall into accidentally. Like where we are, we had a lot of mates that have gone down for class A or firearms and stuff like that we used to knock about with. And it's like, it's so fascinating that like this happens all over the country in all these small towns that are so close to these rural areas, even though they're not in a village or anything. But so for you, was music something that was early on for you, or did you find it later on through your progression?
So I went to a school that was a music, acting, singing music school. Like it was just, that's what the place was. But I was never ever interested in music. Like I think I went to the school mainly for like acting and dancing. That's what I was into at the time. Cool. And then I went through the whole of school and never learned an instrument or anything. I just was not bothered about music whatsoever. I think in my mind, I probably like, I would always like, when I was younger, I would dance around with like an inflatable guitar, and like I always like, I think there was always something there, but I just never was like, I was like, I can't really sing, I can't like, do you know what I mean? So I just sort of like bunned it off as like, I'd love to be on a stage, but there's nothing I can do up there. So I just sort of left it for ages and ages, and then honestly I was probably like 20 years old, and my friend left the ukulele at my house. A little pink ukulele, absolutely nothing like. And I just went onto like a Tabs website and just taught myself a few chords, and then like I found myself playing ukulele for about a year, like on and off, just like learning songs, like listening to like 21 Pilots and stuff. So like I started playing the ukulele, and then like I'd start like singing songs, not well, but I'd sing along to them. And then I remember one day, like I used to listen to a lot of rap music. Not as much anymore, but like earlier on, I think that was something. I think the lyrics in rap music really enticed me into songwriting, because I just think like some of the lyrics that come from rap are so clever, and you get these one-liners and you can like depict it to mean like 3 different things, and like I just love that aspect of songwriting. So then I ended up writing rap music to a ukulele. So it was really bizarre, but I was writing like rap songs to like the maybe 10 chords I knew on a ukulele.
Sick.
Like, something I did in my room, like it wasn't anything. I think that a lot of that come from like 21 Pilots doing their kind of, they have like aspects of rap, I guess. And then also the ukulele. So it was definitely like, they definitely started me on like wanting to like play an instrument anyway. But I started just writing rap music to ukulele, never had any I don't think I ever planned on putting it down anywhere. It was just like, I was just messing about. I was still into my acting. At this point, I went to uni to do film, but I hated it. So I dropped out. I'd come back, and then I can't even remember what happened. I think that was before a night out once. My friends all made music. They were all in a band. I'd go and like, I'd do the videography for their band stuff.
Oh, sick.
And I'd be like, I'd love to be there, but there's nothing I can do. And then like, it was just this battle in my head of like, I think a lot of it was, at this point, I wanted to make, in my head, I was like, I want to make rap music. But when you look like the reject from One Direction, and you say to someone, you want to make rap music, like there's like a stigma. And I think I was always scared to be this like small, skinny, like flippy haired boy, and then to go on rap music, and people just go, no, you don't.
Fuck off.
And then like, so I got drunk before we were about to go on a night out, and we got drunk, and my friend just like, we were just messing about, like, and he had his microphone set up, like they all made music, and we just started making these silly little rap songs, and they were awful. Like, I mean, really bad. Like, we made one called 2 Whiskeys on Wave, and it was just about being a lightweight, but it was just like dumb stuff like that. And then I think that was like me hinting to my friends, because they didn't know I did music. I'd been writing songs for about like a year at this point.
Like, kept it personal.
Yeah, but like I don't know, there was always that they were musicians. I wanted to make rap music. Like, I don't know, it just there was like
in your head didn't feel like they crossed paths almost.
Yeah, and I don't really know what it was now I think about it, but I just, for some, because I was, by this point I was more than confident in myself, like, but I just couldn't. Something about me just didn't want to like just say I want to make music. I don't know what it was, to be honest. And then we started making these silly songs, and then one day I was like, just fuck it, like why am I why am I dancing around it? It'd been like 2 years at this point. I've been playing like these songs. And I turned up with my friends. I was like, I want to make a song like properly. We made the song and we put it on like SoundCloud, and it didn't really do very well at all. But I was like so impressed with it, and like hearing it back, it's still not awful. But like I think like the first time you make a song on your own and you have it and it's recorded and you can listen to your own music on a track, like it just feels like I think I got such a sense of fulfillment from it. Like I've done YouTube in the past and Instagram and this and this, but like there was something about a song that I just was more personal, because I've always wrote really personal lyrics, and like they've always been about things that have happened in my life. So like just hearing a story, and I think there's something more emotion in music than there is any other like a picture or a video. And I think like don't know, there's something personal about this song, and I was like that's crazy. And then carried on writing, didn't really make any songs for a while, and then just started making rap songs really, and I always enjoyed it. I don't know how many rap people you listen to. I used to listen to a guy called Token, if you've heard of him. He's an American rapper, but like took inspiration from him, like went to see him live and it was like insane. And I was convinced I like wanted to be a rapper. And then by this point I'd been making rap music for like maybe a year and a half, but I didn't really listen to it anymore. And then I've always loved pop punk. It's always been something like from when I was younger, like listening to like Blink-182 and like even Busted and McFly.
Tell me about it.
Like Busted, I think like are one of my favorite bands of all time, and I will say that. Like,
I rate that massively.
I think Busted are one of the best bands ever. Like that, just feel good, like cheesy music. Like there's something about it. Like it's not quite pop and like the, you know what I mean? But it's there. Like I don't know. I just enjoyed it, and that was my go-to. Would be like Busted or McFly, like something that's just fun, jump around music. But like that's the kind of music I always really enjoyed too, and I kept reverting back to it. And then again, I sort of went through the same battle where I'm like, I do want to make pop punk music, but I make rap music now, so I can't really. I'd like almost gone back to that same battle of not wanting to admit that I wanted to do a different kind of music, even though like I'm not getting bad streams at all, but like it's not like I was like a fully fledged artist and I was decided to change genres. Like this was like the start of this is the first year and a half of making music, and I'm scared to change genres. And I was like, you're only getting older. Like
well, I also think when it comes to being a musician, or like I think there's a difference between, we always talk about it, but there's a difference between being a musician and a difference between being an artist. And I think being able to put yourself from being a musician where you're making like one specific genre and you know stuck within the boundaries, to then being able to portray yourself or kind of lend yourself to different tools and different areas of the industry is something that kind of shows that creatively and on a mental level you're not just a musician, you are an artist. And I think it shows especially more because you do like you do videos, you do YouTubes, you do TikTok, you have obviously that creative energy within you that allows you to lend yourselves to different things. Did you find making that transition and like almost, I was going to say coming out, but that's definitely not the right way to say it. Like
coming out as a pop punk guy.
I've done I love Busted.
That's it. I'm sorry. I listened to them fly. That's it. I've said it. Sorry, Dad. Like, it is what it is.
Did you find that quite a hard transition?
Yeah, it was really bizarre as well, because I messaged my friend Toby. He's like quite an old friend of mine, and like he's done a lot in the music. He's like DJ in Manchester and stuff. Like he's quite knowledgeable, and he's definitely been like a big mentor for me in terms of like, because I never listened to music in school. I was never interested in it. I had no idea what I'm doing. Like, I mean, aside from like, I couldn't tell you anything about music whatsoever, and I'm still very much learning. But I messaged him and I was like, I'd really like to make like this different kind of song, and like he listens to everything. Like he's like, yeah, let's do it. Like, went to his house. He's got like a little living room studio set up in Devon. I drove down there, and we started making this song, and it got to the second verse, and I was like, this like pop punk song. Like I'd got my friend to like send in a guitar like from his house down to Toby's. Then we've got our friend on the drums who'd like written in drums and put it all. And I was like, let's just stick a rap verse in it. So it was like, why? I was like, just why not? So then the song became like this like weird mix of both, where it had like a whole rap verse, and then we did the same for Boys in Pink. I was like, because people liked it. People like, I wasn't ready for that. And then that just incorporated what I enjoyed about like the rap music side of it, which was the lyrics and being able to do those like fast lyrics, which I do still find fun. but then I've also like now I'm making the genre of music that I actually listen to.
Yeah.
So like for these past 2 songs that I made were like the first songs that like if I've added to my own playlist.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy listening to my own songs, and like I never had that with the rap music. Like I would definitely had like a sense of achievement at the end where I was like, wow, that's really good, and like I'm proud of that. But I would never put it on after it was released.
Yeah.
Like it was be released and that was it. I would never listen to them. Half of them I've probably listened to less than 5-6 times since they come out.
Yeah. I think that's why we were so drawn in by it, because like I know like I think we'd heard like some of the earlier rap stuff, and I know like obviously like Jay and Ramel had done some like got like quite rap music, and we were always like, yeah, it's sick for them. It's definitely not my sort of thing. It's probably closer to yours, El, but
yeah, like I listen to hip hop and rap and stuff, but like I didn't like it because obviously we do this type of stuff too. Like the main genre of our podcast and everything is alternative and indie, so it's so focused.
Yeah. Then when then like El messaged me and was like, have you heard this song? And because like we knew who you were obviously, and he was like, it's really fucking good, and I like listened to it. Fuck, and I was like, being able to have like that, it does have a real pop punk vibe, but then rap verse in, and then even throwing like another different section in, and it's like, I don't know, it really, it's a little bit of a risk in terms of like, it's not really something that's been done before, but I think that's why it makes it so good. And it's interesting to see where those influences come from. So that was like a conscious thing to be able to be like, I'm going to bring the rap to.
It was like it was a crazy last minute decision. Like on the track, like it was just, I hadn't really finished writing it when we started recording it, to be honest. And I was about 5 gins deep, and I was like, it's
best
time.
Place to be. Yeah. Your hands stop working a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, let's play with something. And like, we've done the same thing. And I've got a song that's being mastered right now that I don't really know when it'll come out yet, within the next 2 months, but we've done the same there, but like switched it up again a bit. But like, I think like you touched on something a second ago where you were like, oh, have you listened to this? Like, it's actually good. Like, I appreciate that. And I think the thing is, when I was releasing the rap music, people will I still think it's good. I do like it, but people were listening to it because I'd made it. Not because the music was good. If someone had come across the music on their own, I don't know how many people that would have reached.
Yeah.
Like I'm self-aware enough to know that people are just listening because I'm pushing it in thousands of people's faces, which is fine. But like, I don't think that was ever my aim with music. And then when I released Fuck Me Up Kind of Love, like even from like my friends who definitely supported me just because I'd made it, I had like these messages and they were like really backhanded compliments because they would be like, wow, this one's actually good.
Yeah.
Everything you've made shit, but I just appreciated that so much more. Like this, like that, like I get 1,000 messages from like one song I'd released, and it'll be like, oh, I love you, like this, and I'm like, oh, thanks. But then like you'll know the change in a tone of a message that's there to talk about the song, and not because of the art. Like I think the artist and the song need to go hand in hand, but it's just someone appreciating the music for once.
Yeah.
And for me, that was like such a big thing because I was like, I've made something that people are listening to because they enjoy it rather than just streaming it that once because I posted it on my Instagram story.
Absolutely. And for me, the reason, for sure. And the reason that I was saying to joke is like, as someone, as like a pair that are in like the music industry ish, we're like part of the industry to some extent now with what we're doing. We listen to so much music, and normally when it's released by an influencer, to some extent, using that term loosely, when it's released by an influencer, it always has this negative stigma. Whatever it is, I think it's because 60-70% of it is mediocre 9 times out of 10. Like when you listen to it, you're like, oh, fair play, like they're turning around to something, but like I won't put it in my playlist. And like what you were saying, how you felt about your rapper stuff, because it wasn't part of your like everyday listen. And when I found, because I follow you on TikTok, and I've kind of like keep my eye on TikTok for especially music, and you started coming up a bit more and more and stuff, and I was like, actually, I didn't know the song was yours, but you'd used it in the background of one of your TikToks. So I went out of my way to find the song because I enjoyed the song and realized you'd made it. And I think for me, when I realized that, I was like, shit, he's actually nailed something. You're actually kind of got to something, because I'm not listening to it because it's you. I'm listening to it because I've recognized a snippet of it and gone, fuck, that's all right.
Good.
That's really fucking good. Let me hear the rest of it. I need to hear the rest of it to make a full judgment. So I sent it through to Joe, and like, I was kind of baffled because like, there isn't many people that are doing it in this, like, especially the English scene. The American scene in pop punk starting to rejuvenate. It's starting to relight. And the other one that I was going to ask you about, whether you'd heard, was Little Huddy's one.
Yeah, so good.
Mental, isn't it?
Did you see the one he released today as well? Or was it yesterday?
No, did you release it today?
He released it I think it was yesterday, and I put it on and I've listened to like a minute of it. I was on the phone to my girlfriend earlier, and she's like, he's released another song. And I was like, oh, mad. And I put a minute on. She was like, oh, I don't know if it's as good as the first one, but like,
yeah.
I mean, everyone's got a different opinion. I listened to a minute. I was like, so much better. I was like, that's insane. Like,
because it's crazy. It's crazy that people are now, and it's normally, I don't know whether it just was the theme of the like time period that everyone, or the influencers and people were releasing music, but it all seemed to be rap. You never really got someone singing. And then when you're now singing, Lil Huddy's singing, people are turning their hands to this singing, and you're like, what? Fuck. Okay. Yeah. Like, shit, you lot are really on music now. Like, you're not just kind of, like, you're really on it. I love it.
Shit.
It's crazy because like one of my favorite, like, I think like one of the newer pop punk artists, he's an American guy. He was a TikToker, but I think he was doing music before but not releasing it. His name's Jaden. I don't know if you've heard of him. It's like JXDN, but it's definitely worth a listen. I'd obviously found Girlfriends, which ran about 4. They were amazing, and it come up as a recommended song. This guy called Jaden, and I was like, I'm sure he's like a TikToker, and he was. And like his pop punk music, I think he's released about 8-9 songs, just hasn't missed. Like every single one is like an anthem. Like it's so good, and he's quite good friends with Little Huddy, and like they're all friends with Travis Barker. Mate. So like the people who are helping Little Huddy make music right now are like Travis Barker and like the people who've been doing pop punk songs in America with him. So he's had like, you know what I mean? Like
he's surrounded.
The influence is mad.
Like I'm not saying 100%. I'm not saying he hasn't put any work in, but obviously he's got like Travis Barker.
It helps.
He's got, like, mad producers, so much money.
Yeah.
And like the songs are being written by a guy who's also like written so many big songs. So like he's been like, I'm loving what he's doing because I love like the music and stuff. He's sort of been gifted it, but if he's willing to like put in the graft, I think it's so sick.
Gotcha. What's, because we're obviously Little Huddy's is I believe majority of it's written for him. I don't know. I listened to an interview with him earlier for he was on Travis Mills's Beats One or Apple One show. So they did an interview and I was listening to it, and obviously he's got writers around him. What's the writing process like for you? Because you're not knocking you or anything, but Lil Huddy's following and shit is huge. So his pull, if Lil Huddy messages and go, hey, do you fancy working with me? Anyone's eye is going to light up.
Yeah, of course.
Do you find having... what's the process for you? Because obviously writing it is something you've been interested in for much longer than what he is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. I think for me, like songwriting was like the thing that got me into music altogether. Like that was my first sort of draw, was like, it was just lyrics and rap music. And I think at the time as well, when I started writing lyrics, I think I was just really depressed because I listen to them back now and they're so sad. And I'm like, but I think like that was my thing at the time. And I think because I wouldn't say like it was like a therapy for me, but it was definitely a way to like channel thoughts. And I was like, I definitely might have wanted to die for a bit. And I was like writing it down, and I look back now, I'm like, whoa. But it's almost like a diary. Yeah. Because like I'm looking back now and I'm like, I can't imagine what that version of me was thinking, because like I wasn't thinking straight. But like when I read the lyrics, I'm like, I can almost like imagine how I was feeling. Does that sound weird?
Yeah.
No, exactly.
I know what you mean.
You've captured it in that moment, isn't it? Like
I've written such in-depth thing about something I was probably feeling that one night, and I'd like just dropped out of uni, and like my life had sort of like come to like this mad halt where like all schools worked up to this uni, and I was like, I don't actually like it. Yeah. And I come back and like, what am I doing with my life? And I think like that affected me, but musically, it probably really helped.
Yeah.
Because I had so much to write about. It was all sad, but I had so much like content in my head. It was just coming out. I was just writing all these really depressing songs.
Yeah. To be fair though, it's a lot of people say like it's their therapy, but
Yeah,
also
it's
like,
an outlet. But
it's an outlet. Some people are even throw themselves into shit relationships and stuff like that just to get hurt, just to write music. For some reason, it's
toxic as fuck. That is.
Toxic as fuck. Because it's this negative energy that just needs saying, and it helps, I guess, to some extent.
Definitely. And I think the truth is, which is a depressing thought, but more people are sad than they are happy right now, which is so depressing. But people are way more likely to relate to sadness, and like this is why I've had my fair share of shitty relationships, so luckily I don't have to go back through them. I've got like 2 albums worth of bad relationships. So I've definitely literally the one that I've just recorded, that's about a shitty relationship. Obviously Fuck Me Up Kind of Love was about a shitty relationship. So like you're right, like somehow there's just you're drawn to talk about them because it seems more personal. Like it's the same as if you make a video, like more people are likely to comment on something negative than they are positive. Because if you like something, you go, oh, that's good. And then you sort of keep scrolling. You know what I mean? But if you hate something, people get triggered and they go, oh my God, this and this. And I think it's the same in your head where you just, when it's a negative thing, you're more likely to be like, it's more likely to make you want to talk about it. You know what I mean? Maybe not for the right reason.
Interactive, isn't it?
Yeah. People
Mate, it sells. It's literally like what YouTube became, like diss track season and all this sort of stuff, and like commentary videos. It's like if you say something horrible about someone else and bring that negative energy, that's what people are fucking interested in. And
exactly.
so it's
and then like people are getting defensive over their favorite YouTubers being dissed, and they're more like speak up about a bad thing. So you've got these like everyone shouting at each other, so much interaction, likes, views, comments, and you write like it's literally like YouTube. YouTube just takes off on negativity, basically. It's just toxic. And I think most things are like, I think as you say, like just being horrible to people or saying something negative seems to always in everything. It's even like if you look at reviews on shit, people are way more likely to leave a negative review than they are a positive 100%.
review. You know what I mean? So it's like it's just toxic as fuck. But I think that's why Boys in Pink is one that I keep coming back to and keep listening to, because it's almost got that like, it's got a negative comment, but it's put across in quite a fun, like positive way. Where did the inspiration for that come from? Is that something that you've been through a lot of, like you being you and doing the shit that you want to do and getting a lot of shit for it and just being like, fuck everyone? Like, is that something that's been a big thing for you? Yeah, definitely. I think I always grew up with like good friends, and my family were always supportive of everything I did, no matter what, like musicals, whatever. So I never really had a problem. When I would never say I was like bullied, because I feel like that would be insulting to people who've actually been bullied. But definitely like teased, and it was just little stuff, and I can't even say it really ever bothered me too much. But like it was just, I've never been that big masculine guy. I was always shorter than everyone else, and I liked musicals and liked drama. So my whole life I was just like, oh, you know, he must be gay, you're gay, like this. And not an insult to me, that's what you want to think, that's fine. And then like I just got it constantly. And like when you're younger though, and especially like, so I'm like 24 now, like even though in school when I was like 16, even though it wasn't that long ago, like if you were called gay, like that was like the worst thing in the world. You're like, oh my God. Because for some reason it was awful.
It did. For so we always like, there's always stuff with us, like, because I was always creative but not in the same sense. Like I was never like, I couldn't do art, but I always drew. Or like I like tucking my t-shirt in was something that I used to get fucking teased about all the fucking time.
It's so dumb, isn't it?
so weird.
But like, yeah, for me, like it was just like I was obviously called more derogatory versions of the word gay and like whatever else, and that never really bothered me. Like, and it was just constant. And then I think like there probably was a time where I suppressed it a bit and like changed my clothes and stuff like that. And I don't even think I did it on purpose, because if I'd have noticed, I'd have stopped doing it. But I think subconsciously I'd sort of been like, you know what I mean, like sort of squashed back into this like what society classes as normal. And then like I just had another fuck it moment, I think, when I was about 22, and I was like, I'll just do what I want, and I've just been happy ever since. It's honestly been like the best 2 years for like personal growth that I've ever had. And I think the song Boys in Pink was just obviously like that whole like toxic masculinity of people. You know, everyone's got strong views on it, but I just think like so many people are caught up on what everyone else is doing, and that's kind of what the song's about, really, is like just being yourself and not really caring about it.
Yeah. I love that track because of that.
Mate, it's so good. It's literally why, like, I've literally found myself like before going to work and after work, and I really don't want to be there. And it's been that song that I've put on to be like pull myself together, because I'm just like, fuck it, like Boys Can Wear Pink, and I'm there like shouting it in my car, and I'm like, yeah. Like you can do anything. Like,
and you go sit in a co-op
you know
behind the till.
And I get there and I'm like, oh no, still depressing, so it doesn't matter. That journey, I'm like, yeah, like anyone could do anything. Who gives a fuck? Like, doesn't matter. And it's just like, it does have that real, like, even if it doesn't directly speak to people about like the Boys Can Wear Pink vibe, just that like sort of attitude of being like, do what the fuck you want. Don't give a shit about what other people are saying. I think it's been something that like me and Al have always spoken about a lot as well. And like, I think that's why it resonated so much, because we're just like, we've always been like, do what you want. And
if it don't like, if
some people like it, some people won't. If you like it, sound like, just do what you want to do. And I think that attitude is that makes the song so good.
With that song, it's strange because I had the kind of like, I had like this the like little name Boys in Pink like in my notes for ages, and I gave it a go at writing it a few times, just nothing ever stuck. Because I get so many messages like on a daily basis of like people just being like, oh, like you helped me like become who I want to be and stuff like this, and like that's the most important thing to me. Like if you've got a platform, like do what you want with it, but like just to have like that, if one person a month was affected positively by something I've posted, like what else could you ask for? And I think I'm getting these like comments of like these lads being like, it's just simple stuff. I think like it was the painting the nails thing that started, and like I can't even remember why I did it to start with. I think I was just bored, and then when I saw the reaction next day, people like everyone was so shocked. And I think in my head I was like, I don't get it. And I'm like, you got nails painted, and I'm just like, why is this such a big deal?
Why is it a thing?
I think it's a big deal. I was like, now I want to do it more because it's gonna piss you off. And like people just really struggle to fathom that like it's just crazy. You wouldn't believe the reaction that like the color of the end of your fingers can have on people. It's crazy. And I get these messages of guys saying like their friends, like they used to paint their nails and their friends stopped bullying them because I started painting my nails.
That's nuts.
That's mad.
And I was like, that's mad that they've now seen someone on a platform with the nails painted, and now they're like, oh, that's cool. But it shouldn't have been like that. But if you've got there eventually, like people change.
Yeah, I think it's been for that whole ideology resonates with me because like what we're doing is nothing of the ordinary. Like I like wearing high-waisted trousers, or like I'll tuck in t-shirts that people are like, why the fuck are you tucking in a t-shirt? Or like just like Doc Martens with jeans, or like just little things like that. But for me, I think the one that really stuck with me, your song kind of embodied it to some extent for me, was when Tyler, the Creator, in an interview once said that who's going to be there on your deathbed? Who's guaranteed to be there on your deathbed? And it's you, it's yourself. So you've got to be happy within yourself and be happy with what you're doing. And I think for someone to embody it, for someone that's only been writing music 2 years, 3 years, like to come out with a track that kind of vocalizes it in such a like empowering, powerful way, and it's actually affecting people now, that must feel quite it must be really nice gratification with that track for sure.
It is definitely, and I think like that just came from a place of like all this. I'd noticed I was having influence on people, and then like the song was like, I called the song Boys in Pink rather than Boys Who Wear Pink, because I wanted it to come across like a collective of people. So it was like we're the boys in pink. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the people that don't give a shit kind of thing. So that's why I titled it that, because I was just like, there's just so much negative stigma, and I think the whole pink thing is just like, because that's just that typical girl color, isn't it? Like pink's a girl's color, and like that stuck with me because I think there was a lot of that when I was younger, like, oh, pink's for girls, and I was always like, why? But
what's that about?
Because of being called gay or whatever, because that was the worst in the world.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like, what a weird fucking. I feel like it's just our era as well. Like we're the last ones where like. I think my brother still gets some of it now, and he's a bit more lad culture style. So it's still a little bit intrinsic with him, and I still keep trying to be like, fucking stop, like, come on now, like, why does it matter? What's the problem?
And the fact that you can turn and go, people used to say stuff about me tucking my t-shirt into my trousers.
I know.
Isn't that just a crazy
Isn't it
sentence?
wild? Yeah. I think we've always been a bit about it because we've been, as a group, like our friendship group, we're always very in between in the sense that like we love the like football and rugby and drinking and going to the pub and like lad culture, but also loved really nerdy shit, loved some like, tucking our trousers into shit, some indie shit and all this. So we always got a bit, because I think you can go under the radar, but we never really did that because we were like about it, but then also sort of got the shit as well. So
we were essentially into lad culture, but weren't wankers. Where you go with it.
We're the perfect humans when you think about it.
It's crazy for me because like, I remember like you'd like paint your nails or whatever, and I've got like a because I obviously like part of me's just gone out my way to like I just love like having like a feminine day where I just want to wear pink and like I've got like a pink fleece that says "Maybe Baby" on the front that I got from Paint Women's, like, and I love it. And people are like quick to be like, "Oh, you're feminine," and I'm like,
"Yeah."
At the time, like, and it's so crazy because I'm now wearing a pink jumper, but the time my chosen hobbies were like MMA. I used to go rock climbing, and then I'd like go to the pub, which are like three like, masculine things.
Like so masculine,
punching each other in the face and then going to get drunk, and then. But he is wearing a pink fleece, so like, that's it.
I like that. I like that because I think that's exactly what we've been like. Like, sort of people on the surface, as you say, would be like, "Oh, what you doing? Like, you tucking trousers in, you wearing this, you wearing that, wearing a pink hoodie," and we're like, "Yeah," but then also like, I don't know.
I'll slap a pint quicker too than you.
But then we've gone uni and we're going to a fucking rave and doing this and doing that, and it's like it's just a weird like contradiction. But you mentioned like your social media presence there and about affecting like different people and stuff. So I'm sort of interested in this with you saying like you do social media, you got social media presence and stuff. When did that start and when did you start growing? Like, and how have you sort of coped with that?
It's a crazy story, to be fair. I started YouTube when I was about 16 maybe, and like it just never went anywhere. Like I went through stages where I'd upload like every few weeks for like 6 months, and then I'd get disheartened. Like a lot of it was I'm so like ADHD most of the time that if I don't get that instant gratification, I struggle. And I think for me, like I was way too focused on like I want to be this huge YouTuber. But then like when it didn't happen in 6 months, I'd get disheartened, and it would take me another 6 months, and I'd go, nah, I should have kept at it. So then I'd start again, and it's just constant cycle. And it never got anywhere. I don't think about 1,000 subscribers in about 8 years, 7 years, something like that. Like I didn't even get 1,000 subscribers, and I was like spending good money on like videos. And I look back now, and I'm like, not even bad. Like I look at them now, and I'm like, they're not bad. So like, yeah, I was doing an all right job. I kept slipping in and out of it, and I think like normal working life was never for me. And I used to get so swept up in it, and like I'd go through these like stages where I'm like, one video would get 500 views. I'm like, that's mad. The next one would get 20, and I'd be like, that's it. I'm gonna work this job forever. I'm a failure. And then that would dishearten me to make any more videos. It was like it was mad. And then I got quite a few followers on Vine when that came out. Maybe like 14,000 at the time, which I was like, this is insane. And then Vine disappeared.
Oh mate,
which is shit.
Sorry, I got a phone call. A lot of people like capitalized and went from Vine to then start making Instagram videos and stuff like that, and I never did. I was just like, well, Vine's gone, that's it, back to depression. Like that's it, back to work. And then like I kept having these ups of thinking that it was going somewhere, and it didn't. And then I'd gone through this mad journey. I worked at this job that like made me just super depressed. I quit the job out of nowhere. I was like, no. I just stood up and I went to my manager. I was like, I'm just gonna go. She was like, oh, you feel ill? I was like, no, I'm just like I'm just done. I'm gonna go home and like,
not coming back.
Like I just felt like it was a lot. Well, I hated it, and I just went traveling. Just left with all the money I've got and went into my overdraft to just have a good time.
Sick.
And I was sat there in Hungary, realizing I'd almost lost the plot. I ran away. I'm like now like over -2 grand into my overdraft, over to this like student overdraft from the uni that I dropped out of. And I'm sat in Budapest, like I have no job to go back to, like I have nothing. So then I remember about 6 months before that, the first place I ever worked was Zzz's, like a Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
And I'd gone to eat there about 6 months before. And the manager there was like, I don't suppose you want a job, we're hiring. So I just dropped her a message. I worked there for like 2 years when I was like 16 to like I was 18, like really good friends with the manager. I was like, I don't suppose that job's still going. She's like, yeah, you can have a shift later. And I was like, you have to give me a few days.
Yeah, whoa. I've got to recover. Like,
I'm hungry. Like, I've probably done way too much, stuff.
Yeah, shit.
And alcohol. I'd lost the plot. Like I was absolutely lost the plot. And then I got back, and about a week after that, Jay, like TGF Jay, just came in to eat in the restaurant, and I was like, "Oh, mad! Like your videos." And he was like, "Oh, like sick, man! Like appreciate that." And then we just got talking, and the person who introduced me to TGF was I won't mention him, but he's a bit of a knob that I met at uni, and he introduced me to them because he used to make videos with them in the past, like, and he used to always big up to me, but like, oh, I know these guys are amazing. I think they had like 20K at the time. And I've never been like a huge TGF fanboy. I'm not gonna lie. Like I would love Jackass, and I always loved their videos. But then Jay came in, and we got talking, and his food was delayed for ages, so we ended up talking for like 20 minutes, half an hour. I told him about this guy that like we had a massive fallout. This guy was like an absolute knob to me when we were in uni. And I told him about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we think he's a prick as well." And I was like, we fell out with him because he was like a leech and this and this. And I was like, "Oh no way, like that's crazy." And then he followed me on Instagram. Jay followed me, and he was like, I'll follow you. Like, we'll see if we can piss him off. Like, you should be in a video sometime." And then that conversation was it for like a year. We never really spoke. Like, he probably like replied to a few stories. Like, we kept like mild contact, but like that was it. He never really is a busy guy. Like, there's a lot to do. As I found out later on. But and then about a year after that, I was at work. I was like, one of the biggest lows of my life. I was like, this is the first time I'd just not done anything creative, no YouTube, nothing for a whole year. I sort of felt like I was accepting my fate. Like I'd not been creative enough. I wasn't making music. I wasn't like doing anything I wanted to do. And I was just like depressed. And I was like, honestly, it'd been about 3 weeks, but it's weird because this time I was at ZZ's, everyone kept saying, "What do you want to do after this?" And I was like, this is my last normal job now. If I don't make something of myself, this is my last normal job. And Jay messaged me and he says, "What are you up to?" I was like on shift, and I was like, that's a bizarre message. Like, I'm at work, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll pick you up after." And I was like, "What for?"
What the fuck?
And he was like, "I've got an opportunity." And I was like, he was like, "You at ZZ's?" "Oh yeah." Because then he said, "Are you at ZZ's?" "Yeah." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Not for long." Ha 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 ha. And then didn't reply to me for like 2 hours.
Mate, that's exactly how I pictured JB, you know.
I'd told him like what time I finished, and I was like, I got to the end, I was like, is he gonna be here? And then he just calls me out of nowhere, and he's like, "Oh, I'm in the BMW at the back. I look like I sell heroin." And I was like, and I just got in his car, like we drove around for about 2 hours, and that was it. I quit my job the next day, like, and then I wasn't in any videos to start with, because I did like one of those hide and seeks where I was like undercover. And obviously the TGF really kicked off in December for me. Like that's when we first started making a Christmas calendar. TikTok, I started making TikToks about 15th of December, just into like the TGF thing after we'd filmed the calendar as just something to do. And I uploaded like one video, and I had like 10K followers from the one video, which, because like people were just being like, "Oh, I've seen you in the TGF videos," and I didn't realize how powerful that YouTube channel is.
Yeah,
like it's insane. And to start with, I got a lot of hate from it because people are defensive over their YouTubers.
Yeah,
and I don't think they saw a new person, and everyone's like, "Whoa,
who's
who
that?
the fuck are you?"
Yeah.
yeah." So like a lot of people were like accepted.
People are like, "Where's feeling, man?" Like,
my DMs are full of it. But like, like to start with, it was a bit rocky, and then I'd obviously been like from about November to December, we'd basically just been inside filming. I hadn't been outside. And I'd made this TikTok, and I was like, that's the first time I'd seen anything happen. Like at this point, like no one had recognized me in public or anything. I was just this one video, and I'd like 10K, and I was like, what? From one video? Like people just recognized me from these TGF videos. I don't think I'd fathom the numbers. And then I went out for New Year's Eve, and it was the worst experience of my life, because it's like, imagine people start recognizing you a little bit from your own thing, and they go, you get one or two here and there, and it builds up. But this was like the maddest thing. Like I'd gone to this club, and like the bouncer let me in, and then I didn't have to pay for the cloakroom, and then like people were buying me drinks, but then I got to this point where I felt like I couldn't have fun. Because I like, even though they probably weren't, because so many people were coming up to me, I felt like everyone was watching. And like, if I get drunk now, like,
someone's
going home, like before the it was awful, and I had to like readjust. But I'm fine now. But like, I had to like completely readjust to like realizing you can't go anywhere. And to start with, I'm maybe like egotistically was like, everyone's looking at me. They all know their name, and it was like horrible. Like going to shops, I'd be like sweating. Like it's weird, and then I definitely got used to it quite quick. And it was something I think I always wanted. Like I think I always wanted that, like a platform, and like so like I guess I just skipped a few steps.
Yeah.
I got this help up. I've been doing YouTube for like 8 years, and no one's ever noticed me. And then Jay's gone, "Come here." Everything just happened, and I was like, "This is mad!" Like, and then my TikTok sort of like kept going up, and I honestly from the get go just wanted to build a TikTok to promote music.
Yeah,
I was like, you realize how powerful TikTok is right now in terms of the music. And like, I used to like my comedy videos on there. Now I just sort of just make the cringy usual TikToks. I just try and have fun with it. But I'm just using it as a platform to promote music, if I'm honest. Like I do enjoy it and I love the engagement and stuff, but I'm definitely there for the promotional side of it.
Understandably, I think.
And I liked your TikToks. I think you like did a video and you like summarized exactly that, and people were like, "Why are you doing this cringy shit? We want to see this, we want to see that," and you were like, "Fuck off, then." Like, this is exactly what I'm doing. This is what my TikTok is. It might be cringy if you don't like it.
I'm just having a good time. And I think it's weird, like I think when you know me, my TikToks aren't cringy, but if you don't know me, they seem cringy. I found this correlation because I'm like that in real life, but like cringy. But
just singing in the mirror.
Sorry, it's getting a call. And just since there, like social media has been a whole different thing. But obviously, I have had that help up. Like, I'm not saying I didn't deserve it because I definitely tried.
You put your graph in, mate.
Yeah.
But like Jay's always said to me, like Jay like was so positive over the time he spoke to me, and like even before he took me on board, he was just like, "Oh, I just see something in you. Like there's something about you." And when he like I sat in the car, he's like, "There's just something about you that like I need to like I see something in you." And I like that meant a lot to me because obviously I've had like a failing social media dream for like 8 years, and this guy that's like only a year older than me is so much further than me, and he sees something in me that, you know what I mean? It was crazy. It was so good. It was a mad turn of events, but
I bet that's so wild because I can kind of see where he's coming from as well. Like with you can almost feel your passion for being creative and being just who you are. I think that's it's something that's so unique in life, in all walks of life, wherever you go. And I think especially for someone to come out and be like, right, I'm now going to make fucking pop punk, but yeah, you will see me on TGF wrapped up in sellotape. But I'm still going to do this. I'm still going to do that because I want to.
In the mirror, like.
Because it's who I am. It's what I want to do, and I think that's fucking brilliant, man. It's such I have to admit, you're very inspirational. I like as a fan of the YouTube world, as a fan in the music world, as a fan of creatives. You're one of the first people that I've spoken to like properly where I've thought, yeah, shit, I'm fucking you're on a wavelength which I can really relate to, but also think you've got it, you've got the right, I don't know, for me it's the right vibe about yous, and I just you are very inspirational in that sense.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
For sure. And also, as people have been fans of TGF for a long time, it's just fucking sick as well. Because I mean, I think for our listeners, we didn't never want to focus on TGF too much. And people who are listening to this and don't know who TGF are, which I think could be a few, especially if you have a bit of our older demographic, they are a YouTube group, would you say?
Yeah,
mainly two of them.
Now it's about 5.
Jay and Rebel as a duo. Now I feel like it is like a YouTube group. They make videos online. If you haven't seen them, YouTube TGF. I mean, I think it's probably a small amount of people, but there we are. And I think that is just sick. But do you feel like you've sort of changed since you've been involved in that? Or do you think that it's just sort of allowed, as you said, like allowed you to keep being who you are?
I think there's definitely an aspect of like being able to be who I am more now, but that's more that like I don't have to like switch onto a work mode or put on a uniform. And I think there's so much in not having to actually enter that kind of like society bit where you can just sort of exist as yourself. Like you are going to become more into your own. I've always been for quite a while, I've been quite confident in myself, and I've not really ever given a shit. But I'm so glad this happened like post 21, because I think younger me would have got caught up in it. And I've definitely found who I am intellectually and just like personally in the past 2 years. So I think anything before that might have, like, I'm happy with who I am, and I don't think I would have been here if this had happened any sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
almost
Like,
a bit
those struggle bits might have been what changed my life. So
yeah,
you know what I mean?
a bit more malleable when you were younger in that respect.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I'd lose my head or where I'd be at or where I'd have got with music or anything. I don't know. Like, so I'm glad it happened later, because I do think, especially about 19, I think I'd have got caught up into it. I had too much of an ego when I was younger, and like I think like I always wanted to be confident, and then I got skewed along the way of getting this confidence where it became ego. And I think it took like the most worst years of my life, which was like 2021, to like bring me back to like where I can look at myself and go, you were a bit of a prick. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if I'd have that self-reflection if the growth in my ego was carried on by being in a YouTube channel. I don't know if that would have been healthy for me at the time at like 19. I don't think I'd be a good person. And I appreciate that more than like, you know what I mean? I'd rather have had 2 years more working shitty jobs and whatever to be a good person than have
gain
got
that perspective, isn't it? Like gain
so
that bit of knowledge.
Yeah, 100%. Like I definitely like the past 2 years I've like grown into myself.
Yeah. Do you think
know
music
what that's done to me?
Do you think music's helped you do that? Like grow into who you are? And
I think like music for me is like, I think when I finally like when I came out to everyone, I want to be a rapper. Right.
Could you imagine that conversation? Like you sit everyone down, like the family house, and you're like, right, I've got something to tell you all. And they're like, what?
I want to make it music. And they're like, what?
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I sat them down. I didn't, but I just started making music. I think for me, like, it's just eased on, and I think I'd always had in my head as well. This is the switch. It was like always in my head that I wanted to be a YouTuber, and like that's how you get on in social media. You have to be a YouTuber. So I was always like, I need to make YouTube content. And then like the past year, I didn't really make YouTube content. I've been really focusing on music. And then probably about like last November, like end of summer, I was sat there and I was like, I like music is what I'm gonna do. And I think like I changed my Instagram to like a bit more of like a music based one, and like I sat down like last November. I was like, I'm gonna dedicate 12 months to solely working on being a musician and see where that gets me. So I sat down and I said to my friends who started making Fuck Me Up Kind of Love with me, like after we'd made that, like that was like solidified it for me, because I think what I got back from that song from people was like, that's the most wholesome, like there's a comment on a video, but someone going out their way to tell you, you can't comment on a song on Spotify, you'd have to message me. People have gone out their way to tell me how much they love it, and I'm like, that's the most gratitude I've felt for like a piece of, for anything that I've ever put out. So I was like, I need this. So I realized that this year is just, for me, it's just solely music. But so far, like I've been making this kind of music since like, I think Fuck Me Up Kind of Love like 18th of December or something. And like, I've just had some exciting emails so far, and there's some really cool things coming up in the year for me already for music. And I just can't believe how fast it's progressed in the past like 4 months. So it is a bit mad. Yeah,
it's crazy. So I want to know what's planned. What can we see? What can we expect from Lou as a musician this year? What have you got coming for us?
So I'd be lying if I said Lou wasn't really a band, to be fair, but it's just more of like, it's that whole like, it was just me to start with, but like at the moment there is like the people who made the last 2 songs with me were a 4.
Right.
Nice.
So like for all, like to have them as invested in the music, to have someone else who's there getting as excited as you are to see the streams
helps.
It's so much better to me. Like, you know, that's like saying like, what's the point in climbing the top of Everest if you can't turn around and celebrate it with someone?
Yeah.
And I think like since they've been involved and we've sort of been moving together, and like it's exciting for all of us. It's so much nicer like that. But I think for us, like we've got, so there's a potential. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything because I don't know if the dates are confirmed or whatever. But there's like a YouTube event coming up later in the year, and I've been asked to play at the start of it, and it'll be like a live streamed gig because it's for like a charity thing, and obviously Boys in Pink, all the streams went to charity, and the hoodie profits, like some of the hoodie profits went to charity. So like I think we just lined up with what they were trying to spread. So we've been offered that gig. It's not all locked in yet, but that'll be like exciting because that'll be like streamed to like hundreds of thousands of people, which is
that's so crazy.
And then like we got offered a publishing deal as well, but I don't think we need that right now. It's like I don't know. I don't think we need, like, no one's struggling. Like it's not like if we were like I'm living with my mom, but like if I like if like I was, living in a basement and I was like scraping £300 a month, it might be worth progressing to publishing deals and trying to be getting record deals and stuff like that. Like
if it was like your only stream of income sort of thing.
Yeah, and like that was my like everything. Like I might be thinking differently because to get a publishing deal, you're in the door with someone then.
Yeah.
So like you're more likely to, but I don't think we need it. Like we've done all right without it, and I just think there's something nice about owning your own stuff. Like I don't really want to. If something came up in the future in like 12 months time and it was like a really good deal and I couldn't turn it down, by all means, I'm not against the whole music industry, how it works, but I just think there's something about just if we can make something literally for free that like we feel holds weight against other songs that are recorded in the studios. Like why would we? Why would you sign to a record label? Like
Definitely.
If you could make those money from your streams and that money from like the hoodie sold really well and stuff, and all that money's going back into music. So like why, if we can just sell hoodies for every song and then make enough money to just be able to make the music until it gets to the point where it would anyway. It's nice to have that money coming back into yourself rather than being split to all these people. You don't really know where it's going. Half of them own the studios. They're not even spending the money that it's costing the artists. So I don't know. For me, I'm going to keep it as like simple as possible for as long as I can, really.
I like that a lot. I think like the whole point of what we do is like unsigned artists and people like doing it DIY and stuff. And I think we've found that like actually doing it that way has given people, with the technology now, you can do it yourself and everything yourself and with people and create music that's as high quality as a record label do. And you don't have to not sell out. Obviously, not, as you say, like not every record deal is selling out to someone. Like at some point there's that progression, but like it allows bands and artists and people like you to be able to be like, actually, we don't need it. So I'm not going to commit to that instantly when I don't want to, because actually over the next year, I can create the music I want to from my fucking living room or bedroom, whatever. So I think that's a sick perspective to have.
It's also creative freedom too. I feel like a lot of these people that start signing with record labels get pushed in directions and music changes because they want radio plays or they want this and that. I think it's the best way to keep, from what we've seen, as like a outside look, because the whole idea of this podcast is we are essentially two lads chatting about it like we would do if we were just together anyway. Like,
we're talentless is
the word we're trying to find. It's just chatting shit.
We'd be in a band if we could be, but we're not, so we talk about it instead.
It's not talentless though. It's just like your outlet's different to
you know what I mean? To be
able to like talk to random people and engage in conversations like every week, that's not talentless, is it? It's just a different
musically talentless, I'd say.
I used to play the cello.
Elliot was in a steel pan band. So he's still
was in the steel pan band, mate. I'll give you a good under the sea, I tell you.
I've got a couple more things. We've been going for an hour already, which is fucking wild because it feels like it's been like 5 minutes.
Fuck. Okay.
So I've got a couple more things I want to touch on. Live performance wise, we were looking. Have you ever played a live performance musically? And if not, or if you have, like, is that something that you're really looking forward to coming back?
I can't wait. Like, I made a music video for one of my past songs, and like that was the most fun I've had. Like, the music videos, I can't wait to make music videos as well. Like properly out of lockdown. I've made these like really bodged lockdown videos for the last ones, but I want to get out and like with a production team make a video. Like, I find that so fun. And then like gigs, I've performed live doing like musical theatre and stuff in school, but I've never like performed, and
Done your
obviously like
music.
I've taught myself guitar, so that'll be interesting. But like I know I'll just have fun with it, and I think like I don't think I'd ever be too stressed about it. Like as long as I'm having fun, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like people are there for like a good time. I just think, and I think I could do that. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I think my first gig is now going to be to hundreds of thousands of people, which is no pressure.
Mate,
Yeah, that'd be mental.
When they asked me, I was like, yeah, of course. And then I was like,
At dawn.
that's a lot.
yeah, but mate, even like even live, you'd get thousands of people in a room coming to see you.
Yeah.
I think you could build
You could
nutty
build
lineup.
a big number, a big lineup, a big way of doing it, and like a lot of bands go through years and years of playing to no one, and you could literally be in a position where like when everything comes back, you could play to a room of like a couple of thousand people.
It's
like
crazy.
that. And that's wild. Like that is crazy, but that'd be sick, and like your music is going to be so good live.
I've had this like idea, which I'm going to try and plan for when we're out of lockdown. But I really want to get like all the musicians and underrated musicians I see on TikTok, and I've got a lot of friends that make music now from like just social media that are all have smaller platforms that are probably like their music is way better than mine. It just is, but they're not getting that kind of. It's not getting heard enough.
Yeah.
I'd love to like put on a gig and like have like 4 supporting acts, just like TikTok smaller artists, and put it on myself, and like just like I don't know, like it'd just be such a good idea to like bring people with you. Like I got a hand up, like it'd be nice to give my own hand up to.
Mate,
You get what I mean?
I like that. One of the ones you could definitely look at for that is that Blonde, you know, the coming of age track, the one that everyone does all the what's the fucking
the 2000s movies. It's like if something was a 2000s movie. It's that and that riff.
Yeah.
Blondes, we've interviewed them, and we're sort of like mates haven't spoken to them, and they're sick. They're really good.
They're good.
So good to just get all like everyone's got their own little followings, and together that's one big following.
It's a big one. Yeah.
That's shared between everyone else, and you're all you're introducing their fans to your new music and your fans to their music, and like there's no no one listens to one artist. There's no competition. No one's going to come in and go, oh, I do actually prefer them, and stop listening to you.
That's it.
Yeah, just going to leave, aren't they?
Like, if you like that band and that band, people will just listen to both. There's not like, it's
I think
like
that's
3-minute songs.
Yeah.
That's such a good idea as well. And if you ever are wanting to play Northamptonshire, which is where we're based, we will always help out, man, trying to get
I mean, regardless, if you're putting something on and you need media interview style stuff, I mean, you know.
But like, come along, like it'd be sick. Like,
mate, I'm all over it.
We'd be there no matter what. Like, buy a ticket, be there. No, like we'll be.
I've had the idea for a little while, but like you can't really plan anything right now.
Oh, you can't.
Tell us about it. Like
we've been in the same boat trying to do gigs and that for up and coming artists. So we interview and stuff. Like we talk to people fucking on the daily with music and that, and we just want to be able to showcase it in. Like this is all well and good because the whole idea is to showcase you lot that are in that seat, but we want to show them, like, we want to be like, look, these lot are good fucking music. You've seen the interview. They're good fucking people. Just fucking support them because this shit is nutty, and the world needs this, a bit more of that positivity.
Yeah, I like that. You ever thought about doing like live lounge sessions or anything?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Lockdown's fucked a lot of our plans. Like we want definitely like gigs is what we want to get into. Putting gigs on, having lineups and stuff. I've had a lot of ideas for live lounges and like interviews and just being like, because we want to try and get the like informal style. Because for a lot of smaller artists, anything that you see interview wise is like, when's your next song coming out? And they're saying, they're like, okay, good. And the next artist, and that's it. And we're like, where the fuck is the personality? Like these smaller artists, smaller bands, and like artists like you, like so much personality that we're trying to put out there in that sense. So we want to go bigger with it when we can, but we're
just stuck away from everyone.
We're all right.
Oh, mate.
I'll jump out right now.
But mate, people like you coming on is what is keeping us going. Like it's helping us massively. Do you know what I mean? It's
just the positivity that comes from it, man. Like doing stuff like this, we've done like one that will have been released before this was Red Rum Club that we did with them, and they start talking about supporting Blossoms and bands like that, and it just is almost that excitement for the industry that kind of like just keeps us ticking along, because it's you need to take everything from it because it's just such a brilliant.
It is like the crazy thing for me is like my whole music career has been under COVID. Like since it's actually been doing well. So gigs have never even entered my mind.
So
Obviously I've imagined them.
Yeah.
In the shower, like. And like I haven't even been able to like think about planning anything like that yet. So it's crazy because I've never I've supported anyone. I've never played a gig because I haven't been able to yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet there's so many artists that are coming out of this lockdown, these new artists that are going to be in the same situation. Like, imagine how awkward our stage presence is going to be.
Oh,
bro, it's shut up. You were in fucking plays in second. You're going to come out and you're going to be fucking right on it. You're going you're going to be.
I'll have a coffee and I'll be gone. I'll be like that.
You know what I mean? 3 Red Bulls down, you're gonna be out there fucking loving it.
We were to tell you what, the worst one that we're talking about, like bands starting in lockdown. We did an interview with Sweet Coins that came on, I think, 3 weeks ago when this comes out, and they have the lead guitarist has met the drummer twice.
Mad
in the band. That's it. Ever. Like,
well, to be fair, I've met our drummer in real life twice.
That's so mental.
That blows my mind, like how you can possibly do that. Like,
I had like the weirdest story of how we all ended up together because the producer I used to work with for the rap music just started like not really putting in as much effort as like I needed. And I put this post on Instagram. I was like, "Does anyone want to help me? Like, does anyone want to help
please?
Me? Please." And this guy messaged me. And he was like, "Hey, like, I'd love to help you. Like, I live near you." And I was like, "All right, sick." And then it turns out he knew the producer for like my first ever song that had moved to Devon. And then he knew the guitarist I was friends with. So we all sort of knew each other.
Oh, wow.
It was really bizarre. But then I went to his house once. We worked on some stuff. And then for the first song we did together, he sent over drums. And then for the song after that was the first time we were actually together. So I only sent him twice.
Wow. It's crazy how the world works nowadays. It's fucking terrifying.
Weird,
it's insane. And it's now been like 5 months since we've been working together.
Oh, mad. But I tell you what, it's obviously doing something fucking right. So when you all can get back in a studio together doing something like that, I think it's going to
blow up.
I think that is the plan. I think the plan is to just release these singles for now. And as soon as we can, just take a week in a studio. I found this like studio in Devon where you can like lodge in it. It's an Airbnb.
Yeah,
that's sick.
Like a living studio, so you can like book it for like 2 weeks, and like we have an EP done in a week. So easy. Like we worked so quick before. So like I think the plan for now is just release singles until I can plan to just record an EP in one go.
Yeah,
just have it done like that.
Sick. Love it, mate. That is sick.
Exciting.
Yeah, so exciting, man. So exciting, bro. I can tell. I love it. I love the passion. I think
I feel like we could speak to you fucking hours, but we have a section we normally dive into about half an hour ago, but we'll do it now.
Yeah, we have a section. So every week for this like lockdown interview style thing that we've been doing for this second series, we do a section where it's a scenario based one. So we've got for you lot, we're gonna do the TGF lads. So we're gonna give you 4 different scenarios, and you've got to pick one of the TGF boys to give you a hand with the scenario that's happening.
Okay.
All right. So to begin with, you're in the outback. You're in Australia. Someone has offered some cash out. They've got a big wad of cash out at the back. You know, they're outside. They go, right, I've got something planned for you. There's a kangaroo. I've got 200 quid on the kangaroo winning, but you've got to fight him. Who from the TGF boys are going to fight the kangaroo?
Who's going to fight them?
Yeah, who's going to fight the kangaroo? Who's going to fight the kangaroo?
Go broad as well. Like, it can be anyone. Like, it doesn't just have to be like Jeremiah, like anyone.
Oh, if I can take anyone to fight there.
As in, like, anyone in that realm, like any of your like mates in the TGF group.
Probably Luke, you know.
Luke.
Everyone would fight the kangaroo, don't get me wrong. Like, like everyone fight the kangaroo. Like, we'd actually be fighting to who was going to fight the kangaroo first.
I
feel like Luke would be the most entertaining to watch him punch the kangaroo.
I like that. Cool. Cool. Next one I've got, it's a zombie apocalypse. The news has just broke. You know, everyone's being told to fucking lock down. A little bit like now, but zombies, not COVID. I've got two little things for this one. Who... I can't read my own writing. Right. Who are you calling to live with? Who's your first bell to live with and be like, right, I'm coming over. We're going to lock down together. And who is going to be the first one to get infected?
This is TGF realm, yeah?
Yeah.
In terms of live with, I'd definitely go to Ramel.
Yeah.
I think his house is probably the safest house. Like, it's like it's got like a gate all around it, like a little compound. And he also keeps the shelves like heavily stacked. You know what I mean? Like, like a takeaway guy, and like he'll get meals in to eat them. But I think, Ramel would be stacked up. Yeah, just in case. What was the other one?
The other one, who's going to be infected first?
Probably me, you know.
Just wandering about trying to like get out in the woods and shit, and you're like, oh, fuck.
It's real, and like I definitely get too confident and think I was the main character. Yeah. So I'd skip on that because I would think that was the appropriate thing to do, and now
Right. It's another scenario that's very similar. The world is now living underground because of, it's not a zombie apocalypse, but something has wiped out the world. It's almost like a nuclear bomb or a nuclear warfare. So everything's fucked, like nothing's left. Everyone's living underground. You've got to send one person up to overground to get resources, whether it be food, water, things like that. Who are you sending to get the resources for you and the group?
Feeling.
Really?
Most sensible.
Sensible. He's like very logical. And he's also probably the physically cardiovascular the fittest. Bikes a lot, like a lot, cycles like a lot. I feel like he might take his bike up, you know, and just
get out, get his bits, fucking dip along.
He wouldn't fuck about. He'd be on it. And I feel like, he's got the brain for that.
I like that.
I trust him.
Yeah, good. Right, one more. If you were robbing a bank, you're out, you've got to do a bank job, you know. Again, yeah. Shit happens.
Allegedly, this is this out.
You know, you need to get someone to distract the bank teller, the person who you're going to be robbing. You need someone to distract and someone to be your getaway driver. Who is going to be either one of them?
Distraction, I don't know if, Jay Dimmock. He's like the tall geezer.
Yeah.
He can chat the most. He would chat the most. Yeah. And I feel like he could really make up like a really adult conversation, whereas no one else. Jay would be the getaway driver.
Jay would be the getaway driver.
I think I was surprised how well he can actually drive. Like I've been in his BMW, like drifting it around this track when after we filmed a video. Insane, like the guy can actually drift the car like properly.
Mate, when he uploaded that video about his Lambo, I was so convinced that he'd crashed it into a fucking wall, and that's why I didn't have it anymore. And then he was like, "Oh no, I got rid of it," and I was like, "That's so disappointing." I was like, "I swear," I'm so sure if he had a video idea, tried to drive it somewhere, and just fucking rammed into a wall. But
I think that's what everyone thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
But the BMW is so much cooler, so much more character in that car.
Yeah. That's nutty.
Yeah.
That's nutty. Well, that is our little scenario question segment. And the last thing we do on these podcasts before we wrap it up, because I know we've kept you for a little bit longer than anticipated. We do a section where essentially we want to spread the love and share a band that we're listening to at the minute that we're really enjoying that might be going under the radar. So have you got anyone that you're listening to at the minute that's going under the radar that you think deserves a little bit more love?
Definitely. There's a guy, really, really underrated artist. I put him on my Instagram story earlier. His name's Daniel Briskin.
Okay.
And he's like an acoustic artist, but his voice is insane and he's such a nice guy. And I just met him. I think he's got about 40k on TikTok. So like he's got a little following on TikTok, but I try and like shout him out as much as I can because I just think he is like the next big thing in the genre of music that he's in.
That's sick.
but I don't think enough people go and listen to him. You should literally listen to him after this. He's so good.
We will. He'll be in the rotation. He'll be in the new plays playlist for or I'll put him in before they go into the playlist.
Yeah,
I'll get him in there. So I've got one to kind of spread the love with. I want to shout out a band that I've spoken about before, but I do think you'll really enjoy them because of the pop punk influences you have. But I want to talk about We Demand Parachutes. They're a band from, I want to say Massachusetts, but I could be fucking wrong.
America.
They're from America. Yeah, they're from. Yeah. Well, they're from the States, and they've got a song called Ketamine out at the minute, and it is fucking nutty. It's so good. We Demand Parachutes, but that's my one for this week. Joe, have you got one for us?
I wanted to shout out the Ratons for today because it's one when it's recorded, but their EP dropped today, and the Ratons, they're like a Yorkshire band, but they've got a real heavy feel to them. But they've dropped an EP today, and it's got like way more Arctic Monkeys and indie vibes with some of the songs they've got in there as well. So it's very indie. They've got some heavier shit. They've literally got some acoustic shit on there. That EP is showing like a massive range of talent. And they are one of the bands that in a couple of years' time they're going to be fucking massive. So the Ratons are one I want to shout.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you, Lou, for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Mate, thank you very much. It's been sick.
Yeah, well, I'll keep you updated if I do end up doing that thing later in the year. It'd be sick to like put something together if you want to.
Yeah,
do that.
Mate, 100%.
We're open to anything, and regardless, we'll be there. We'll buy tickets no matter what. So
yeah, let's do it. Exciting.
Definitely, I'm all over that, mate. And we'll definitely get a beer or something when we're at Birmingham Way. When we're doing a set day.
Yeah.
I can't wait, mate. It's going to be so good when we can get out, get a few beers in. We'll go to a gig or something. It'll be nice.
What, talking real life? Whoa.
Yeah. IRL? What the fuck?
No. Do you know what I mean? You might freeze up. I mean,
yeah, I think I might. I'll be like, don't let me.
I don't know what to say, man.
Oh, I'm gonna be so socially awkward. I can tell. I'm such a neek.
I've lost everything. Every social skill I've ever had. I get
literally.
I'll have to ask for something. I'm like, I've got to hype myself up now.
I go buy some Jewel Pods or something. And I'm like, what flavour do I want? Let me just plan. Let me plan.
The blue ones. I want the blue one.
I want the blue Jewel Pods, please. Blue Jewel Pods. Don't ask me any more questions.
Please, sorry. I'll go.
I'll come back. Well, I'll turn away while you're getting them. Anyway, Lou, it's been a fucking pleasure having you on. It's been a brilliant chat, mate. Thank you very much for coming.
Right, I'll talk to you both soon.
Yeah, for sure. If you're still here, lads, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the other side. Peace.